Welcome back to another episode of Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams, we catch them. And come on now, who am I here with today? Now, this is crazy. This is insane because obviously I'm sitting here with somebody who is inspiration personified, who is the personification of determination, the personification of doggedness, the personification of doing what needs to be done to help his community, to strive to make this community better, to strive to make this community safer. And not only that, he's making history while doing it. Who am I talking about? I am talking about our very own renowned police chief, Jeffrey Norman. Chief!
Jason, I'm going to have to use you to introduce me at press conference. My own hype man on payroll, you know.
I got to do you right. I got to do you justice, Chief.
Honor's all mine to be here. Pleasure to be here with you, brother. All right.
So, Chief Norman, I like to start off every single interview with the same question. And that question is, what is the dream?
You know, a lot of times it's kind of cliche when we talk about what we aspire to accomplish, but I don't want to make it seem like it's just somebody else's, little saying, but to leave the place better than what I found it. And when I talk about that from a standpoint of the service of almost 3 decades of being in law enforcement, understanding, the challenges of our community and challenges in regards to we as a people, that there is something said about the mark left and that there is a positive impact, a sustainable impact that will be, again, utilized from time now on. And so when it looks at, in regards to especially this level of leadership, have you left your mark? Have you left what you were responsible over better than what you found it?
And do you feel like you've caught the dream, or do you feel like you're still actively catching it?
So one of the things about being a lifelong learner, you should never be settling for whatever that the position that you're in or what has been accomplished. We're proud of what we as a community, we as part of our executive staff with the Milwaukee Police Department, working with the leaders in this city, have accomplished. But I'm always hungry, brother. Mm-hmm. And I would never ever feel like I've made it. But I will say that there is tangible evidence of impact, of having, a better space now. Not saying that we should be comfortable with that, not saying that we are there, but that there is, again, things that we all can be proud of. Me personally, from a personal, success, making it to this particular position is not easy. There are 70 major city chiefs in this nation. And being one of that very few, but then also being, a black man in this position.
History.
It is something that you don't look at it lightly, but also understand the responsibility of that particular role. And so I am definitely pleased, but yeah, brother man's still hungry though.
Hey, that's good. Come on now, we ain't stopping here. What? It's the next level to read. That's what I try to tell people. It's a basketball trainer. He was actually, his name, I think Tim Grover. He trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and he said no matter what, the reason why those 3 people I named reached higher levels than everybody else is because they understood it's always the next level.
Yes, sir.
Some people get matched out. He brought up, now I love Carmelo, and James Harden. I love these people.
Right.
I love basketball. Right. However, he brought them up as examples. He was like, you have your Carmelos and James Hardens, but then you have your Michael Jordans, your Kobes, your LeBrons, your D Wades. And that's because those people understood that there's always a next level, while some people believe it's a max. They believe in the God's ceiling, as if there is no ceiling.
No, there isn't. And the bad thing about it is that you are really keeping your shine down. You should be almost like a caterpillar, or you should transform. Understanding that there's levels of where you are bringing in more inputs to take your characteristics, the skills and abilities to the next level. I talk to my financial planner all the time. He says there's no such thing as retirement. It's just a recalibration of where you're going to go with your life and what you want to do and where you're at in life. And that's where we should be thinking about as a people, that you should always look to transcend, to ensure that you are always leaning into, the next level and the challenges that come with it, because through challenges and obstacles comes growth. And that is where we are really, living life, not being, somebody just living in life.
No, I love it. So, man, listen, Chief Norman, I want to unpack a little bit. Because, I want to know a little bit about Chief. I want to know, no, not about Chief. I want to know a little bit about just Jeff.
Yes,
you feel what I'm saying?
Yes,
so, your childhood, did you know, first off, how was your childhood? How would you describe your childhood in a couple words?
Challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Milwaukee, brother. It's not where, I always say, the saying back in the day, you didn't have a silver spoon and grew up on Lake Drive. I have, two-parent household that unfortunately got divorced at a young age, where, that was, they had jobs in regards to they took care of us, but it wasn't, careers or things that, you'll say, this is something that I went to school for. I was a first-generation college student. So, I had love, I had support, I had that extended family. But growing up in Milwaukee was not easy. And definitely I grew from a lot of experiences. But I will say that I'm not sorry about the lived experiences, because it made me who I am.
Oh, man, I love it. So when did the idea of becoming a police officer, when did that even enter your brain? Was that during childhood or was it later?
Very, very young in childhood, adolescence. I don't know the exact age, but I will say it was single digits.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about this all the time with people. I do a lot of public speaking, do a lot of motivational speaking. You know what you want to do. Do you have the, I will say, brave, or the courage to aspire to it? There's things that speak to yourself in regards to what really clicks and ticks in your life. I remember when my son was born and the things I've seen him as he grew up, I said, I always knew you were going to be in some type of public relations or PR or doing something. He's in school for business where, you build relationships off that. My wife, she's in the medical field. She always knew that she wanted to be a physician. I always knew I wanted to be in law enforcement. I always knew I wanted to be an officer. And those are, that type of aha moments that allows you now to build goals and build your tribe, build your community to help you along the way to aspire, to attain, and to remain in those particular type of goals and positions. So, long story short, that you asked a short question. Yes, I absolutely did know I wanted to get into law enforcement at a very, very young age.
No, that's amazing. Because obviously we know the stigma of police officers in our community. Like, it's not a secret. We know NWA. We know all of it.
Yep.
So how did you, especially because when this was even back in the day, this is not 2024.
Yes,
so how were you balancing the outside perception versus this is a dream you trying to catch, but yet the outside perception is, we don't know about that.
Own your own story. Don't let someone else's story be your story. Too often we pass on some of our hurt and trauma, and we as a people take it on without questioning it or having your own experience. So that was one aspect of navigating that, because I'm a first-generation law enforcement officer. There's no family of cops I come from. And again, you heard about my life. Growing up in Milwaukee wasn't easy. I had some negative experiences, but also put it in a compartment in regards to those experiences. Don't paint broad brushes with experiences that you have and just say, I'm going to write this off. You get a bad hamburger at McDonald's. You say, I'm done with McDonald's. You get a bad service that, I'm going to go we're on Kohl's department store. You're going to stop shopping at Kohl's? We have a tendency to broad brush experiences with law enforcement unlike any other experiences in our life. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things we own within law enforcement. I'm the first one to talk about we need to be able to clean our own house and understand the responsibility we do have. But I also say to people, do not be using other experiences to be your own experience. Ask your own questions. And also, there is a saying about You know, if you can't beat them, join them.
Very true.
Too often when we have complaints, it's like voting. Don't complain about who's in office if you don't vote. Be quiet. I felt the same way about law enforcement. Have I had bad experiences? Yes, I have. But I also say I had a lot of great experiences. And knowing that this speaks to me about the type of work you're doing, the type of service that you have, owning that narrative and being able to say that I will set the tone about what I bring to the table. That it will be different than some of the things I've seen or improvements on things that I did like and want to do more of, which is one of my cornerstones about my administration is engagement, community engagement, getting out there, getting to meet people, talking to people, enjoying building relationships. But beyond getting to know you, nurturing those relationships like a garden. Tend to it. Take out the weeds. Understand that you need to keep on having consistent conversations with everybody. Especially in our line of work, we do not get to choose who we want to talk to or not. We're expected to talk to everybody because we're expected to respond to everyone. So we need to be able to have that service-mindedness and be able to find good in all our experiences, all our connections. Again, a little over 28 years, I still got a smile on my face about this career I chose.
Hey, you seem joyous every single time I see you when you come in here to hop on Dr. Ken's show. And I'm like, man, like I know it's a long day because that was around like 5 o'clock. So I know you
My
already
day starts
tired.
at 5 o'clock in the morning, brother.
Oh wow, and that was 5 p.m. when you come in.
And that's the regular lifestyle as a executive, but also the chief executive, where we have that type of grind. Normally I have 12 to 14-hour days. That's not for me to complain. And please don't feel bad about me because I asked for this position. You serve the way that you expect that position to be serviced and the people who expect that type of service. So when I do have these invitations, it is important for me to lean in and be able to have that moment to build more connections. And that wasn't the first time I was on Dr. Ken Harris' radio show. Multiple times to make sure that we are nurturing and continue to build those relationships.
No, without question. So take me into something because what are you this is not even a question I was going to ask, but the life of a cop. What is the daily routine of a cop? Okay, you get up early, then you go, obviously, you do what you got to do, whether that's patrolling the streets, and then how do you have family time? Like, how do you have time to do other stuff beyond being a cop?
So there is a level of sacrifice being in law enforcement. For myself, I worked 19 years on late shift, which was the 12 midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning shift, because just what you just talked about, family. I wanted to ensure that I was there for my kids' games or my daughter's recitals, to be there for parent-teacher conference, sacrificing my own health and sleep to be able to be there for a father because they didn't ask to come in this world. My wife and I brought them into this world. But on the flip side, when you are involved in a line of work, it's not work if that's what you want to do. No one should aspire to just get a job. I say this often in regards to, when I do recruit graduations. You have now chosen a career, but I really want you to think this as a calling because it's not work. And yes, throughout my career, on a regular working, 14, 16, 18, with this Republican National Convention, I was working 20-hour days.
Oh, I know that was wild.
But I asked for it. It ain't for me to complain. And I'm not going to lie. I feel alive, man. I love what I do. I love who I work with. I love who works for me. And I mean that word. Seriously. Love. And so when it comes to this type of line of work, there is sacrifice because you're going to have to work holidays. You might, as a new officer, work nights, whether it's 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. or because it's a seniority-based thing about working days. But if this is what you want to do, it ain't gonna be work, and that there's things you can aspire to do different type of positions. We have dog handlers, we have individuals working on the boats, we have individuals working with, kids. There's so much opportunity to make that career the career that you like, the career that you own. So the lifestyle of a law enforcement officer is not anything that you consider a normal 9 to 5, weekends off, holidays off. But I'm so proud of the work that the men and women of the Milwaukee Police Department do 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, holidays included, because they want to be here to serve you.
Man, and we need them. We
Yes,
need
sir.
them.
Yes, sir. We need the right ones.
Yeah, without
I
question.
tell people all the time, I got your back. As long as you are doing things legally and morally right. You fall outside of that, you don't have to worry about anybody else but me in regards to being able to stay and remain a law enforcement officer within this community. Real talk.
So how do you feel when people saying defund the police and all of that, based off of like situations that's happened? Because I don't think people really understand. They say defund the police, but then okay, when bad stuff does happen, you don't got the police. Who you gonna call then? So how do you feel when you hear that?
Jason, you said it right, though. You said something that is key to that whole conversation. Need. This is not a want or a could use. This is a need. But finishing that sentence with the right ending, you need to have the right people. So it's not about throwing a baby out with the bathwater. When you talk about, destroying the system, whatever, in a civilized society, we have responsible law enforcement. That's just part of it because, unfortunately, there are people who make bad choices, and in some aspects, there are evil people in our community. But we need to make sure that we are recruiting, nurturing, and maintaining the right people who understand that responsibility. I have no problem with someone have a difference of opinion. We are in a academic, lawful society of all different type of backgrounds, experiences, and that discourse is important to have, or the dialogue is important to have to make sure that we are doing what we can to be reflective of what our public want. But I will always say you will have to have some level of law enforcement and that you will get the law enforcement that you desire. As a public, as a democratic society, they dictate what type of law enforcement they want. And it's for us as leaders, as executives, to deliver that. And so it is something that I have navigated those waters. We're in budget seasons again. I understand the sentiment out there. I respect that. Doesn't mean I got to agree with it, but I do respect it. And I look as what are the opportunities that we can draw out of this conversation that we both can agree on. There's always something that we both can say. Maybe we want different ways to get there, but we can agree on what is that you want for outputs or service or the type of interaction with your police.
No, I love it. So even beyond law enforcement, even beyond your illustrious career.
You're a hype man.
I'm just here for real.
I'm about to put a clock around your neck while you play the play.
Hey, come on now. Like, you got to bring it with the energy now. So even beyond all of this, how do you define success?
So I believe that is a personal opinion about what success looked like. I know I talked a little bit about leaving places better than what you found it, but for me, from a personal level, am I able to look back on what I've accomplished and be proud of it? There are things that people need to really have a coming to Jesus moment when they look in the mirror. Are you happy with who you see, the type of person that you are, not only in your professional spaces, but in your personal spaces? I'm a family man, married. I just celebrated my 22nd year with my wife.
Congratulations.
27 years together. She's born and raised in Milwaukee also. My son just went off to, college. Basically, he's a, freshman in the business school. My daughter's honor roll student in high school, junior. I have a great relationship with my in-laws. Just went on a trip to Hawaii with my father-in-law, mother-in-law. My friends, I've known them for 30, 40 years. I don't really, do the new friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I know a lot of people. But I feel blessed and satisfied. So success for me is that if I had to die tomorrow, which, God, I'm not trying to speak it in the air, would there be a smile on my face? I believe so. Because there are so many things that I can be thankful for and know that I'm putting my all into these relationships and being the type of person that I hope people can be thankful of And know that I always still, you talk to my wife, hey, there's still things I need to grow on and
Oh,
build
yeah.
and be better.
You still human.
But I love who I see in the mirror every day, brother. Real talk.
No, and
Gotta start with that self-love.
that's where it all starts. It literally all starts because if you don't love yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect other people to believe in you? How can you expect other people to love you
Yes, sir.
for who you are? It all starts with you, and even all that starts with thought.
Yes,
I just got done talking with this lady named Melanie Ricks, and she was talking about how thoughts become things. And I told her, you have to think of every single invention that's every single creation, all of it, every single thing started with a thought.
Yes, sir.
Somebody had to think,
Yes, sir.
oh, we need this, we want that, or whatever. But it became and manifested itself. So
Yes, sir.
it all started with
Look at
you.
Jason. I'm philosophical.
Hey, listen, this
Trying
is
to drop some deep stuff inside over here, man. All right, Professor X.
that's just how my brain be working, Chief. That's how my brain be working.
I love it, brother.
So how do you practice self-care? Because we talked about
man.
your life and the hours. How do you even practice? How do you find time? What do you do?
So my wife sometimes, and like I said, that's the thing that she tells me to grow up on is being selfish. But self-care is selfishness.
And people would look at that and say, oh, but being selfish is bad, I thought.
So I go to bed on a regular basis around like 8:30 because I get up at 5. I work out when I get up at 5. I meditate. I work out on a regular basis. 6 days a week. I do the Sabbath on Sunday in regards to that. But it's important to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep and be serious about that. We need to heal that brain, excise all those toxins, the stress, and sleep gives you that. Make sure that your body's healthy. They say health is your wealth. I love my Peloton. I do, free weights. But also, I love being around positive people. That helps in regards to continue to be in that mind state of accomplishing things, but also iron sharpens iron. The circles that we surround ourselves with are individuals who help us stay sharp and ensures that we are, being good people to each other. And don't get me wrong, because then people are like, all right, what about everybody else? Because we do so much for everybody else, because my wife is a physician, she's in the service industry too, it is draining.
Ah, man, I don't even imagine.
It is challenging in regards to that you see some people are not really living up to their potential, or they want to suck life out of you because of their own challenges. And that is where we try as much as we can to give those tips, or because you can lead a horse to water, you can't force a horse to drink. Even with our own children, you raise them to be a certain way, but they still have to make that choice of living that. And so for me, self-care is, I do mindful meditation. I might do some box breathing throughout the day. I take meditative walks because I understand that, in this, it's very stressful no matter what leadership, because my wife is in administration, she's in leadership also. We have stressful jobs. We like to take vacations. We just like to see places, turn it off. So self-care is really a holistic, multifaceted. There should be some daily things you have part of your regimen, but there should be other things that you include in your regimen, meaning like taking vacations or, my wife keeps on saying, we got to date more. I'm like, even after, 27 years together, she's like, you got to commit to being on dates and everything. But, my son plays soccer for, 15 years. Those are commitments of, being there for family, seeing the growth, seeing my daughter. She was in ballet for like 12 years. Those are my, self-care, seeing that particular type of, positive experiences and knowing that you're part of that growth and being part of those happy moments. And so that there is very little to no regrets in regards to that, I was there for you. I was there involved in this. And it helps me be more balanced and keep a smile on my face, even when we have those challenging times.
And you just keep on going.
Yes,
And listen, sleep is important, but it's just hard. It's hard, Chief. And I think with me, I try to, because if I'm working a long day, I think that I push my bedtime back farther because I'm like, man, I need some time to enjoy the day. So if I get home at 8, I don't want to just go right to bed at 10. Yeah. And so then I feel like, okay, then I'll push it to like 12 and 1. Then I got to be up at 6. So I got to that's the part I got to work on. I got to work on the sleep.
Eating healthy. You know what? There's times, so I do push it more towards the weekend when I'm up, might watch movies with my wife or be out with some friends and have a little bit more time. But it's like the whole thing about eating right. You know, we have to aspire, ensure that we are doing what we can to put healthy food. But it's okay to have junk food from time to time. It's okay to sit there and have, you know, that cheat moment because life shouldn't be too regimented. But there's something to be said in regards, again, health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
The number one killer in regards to our human existence, stress.
Wow.
And so when you talk about stress, how do you keep your heart rate right? You know, high blood pressure is a serious thing within our community. Diabetes is a serious thing in our community. And so having a healthier lifestyle, like my father, you know, he was diabetic. My mother's a diabetic, you know. And so I work out because I understand those are things that help push that type of, you know, situation, you know, off where, you know, if you drinking, like I don't drink sodas. Like one day I ordered something and one of my team looked at me crazy because, you know, I ordered, you know, a meal and I got a soda because I just had a hankering. He's like, you never drink soda. How you trying to put them empty calories in my body? You know? I was around a guy who's 90, and he sat there. We had a fish fry. It was not fish fry. It was a dinner on Friday, and it was a fish fry thing. He wanted bacon. I got it fried. I felt so bad because I looked at him and said, that's why you're 90. So it's about our choices, man. And it's about being dedicated to those choices. There is a space for selfishness when it comes to you. And you should be unapologetic. Like my wife, she's like, why you go to bed so early? Because when I wake up in the morning, let me tell you, Jason, when I wake up in the morning, you got to be on. You can't be half asleep. You can't be kind of, you know, in the know. You got to be bright, awake, and ready. Because as soon as you walk out that door, and it's not really walk out the door, I look at my emails as I'm going over eating my breakfast in the morning, because when I walk through the door, my team is expecting me to be in the know, to be ready to make some decisions, and to be at my top of my game. And so there are things that, yes, you know, it wasn't easy. When I first got off late shift, 19 years, all my wife said he did was sleep. I said, I'm playing catch up. I missed sleep so much. I was sleeping probably anywhere between 4 hours a day, and it was broken up in 2-hour increments. When I got off, I did 2 hours because I had to get up and do things for the family. And before I go to work, 2 hours. That's not maintained. You can't sustain that. And so, yes, it's not easy, but commitment is all part of that, you know, again, responsibility and ensuring how important is it to you. When somebody says they got no money, I'm like, let me look at your shoes and let me see the phone you're carrying it. We do things that's important to us, and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And so definitely there's things that we are committed to, then commit yourself to it. Don't half-step. Don't sit there and kind of, you know, waffle. Commit yourself to it. Otherwise, it ain't that important.
Yeah, put your full foot forward.
Yes, sir.
All right, Chief, before we get you out of here, I got a segment, a couple segments. This first segment is called This or That, and I'm going to just give you a couple options, and you just tell me which option you pick.
I tell you, black sheep. This or that.
This or that. You can get with this or you can get with that. Precisely.
Engine number 9.
You feel what I'm saying? You see what's going on. Yeah. So the first this or that. Truth or happiness?
Truth creates happiness.
Okay. Boom. Hey, listen.
You know, the thing is that, you know, sometimes it's not what you want to hear, it's what you need to hear. It might not be, you know, all that great in regards to delivery, but be happy to know that somebody respects you enough to give it to you real. Especially in my world, there's so much fakeness. So many, you know, side truths and people sitting there saying one thing, no, you know what, stand on it. That's what you believe, stand on it. If this ain't working, stand on it. So I believe truth is a foundation to happiness, especially for yourself. Better out than in. Don't be passive aggressive. And maybe just because now I'm older, I'm just cool with me. I'm good with me. I love me. So
that's the goal. And honestly, that's the dream, to just love yourself. That should be everybody's long-term dream, is to simply love yourself.
Yes, sir.
Second, this or that. Forgiveness or justice?
Forgiveness. it creates justice. Some of these things that sound to me, it's easy to me.
Yeah, I love it.
Because justice is a personal type of belief. For some, it might be eye for an eye. Some people like acknowledge my pain. There's so much different, and only through forgiveness can you get to justice, because you're not blinded by what are you angry about, what are you frustrated about, because it blinds a lot of decision making, and so only through forgiveness be able to get that out your heart. Because I didn't say forget.
There's a difference. There's a difference between forgiving and forgetting.
Forgiveness helps you elevate yourself to the next level, to be able to hear what. If somebody who did you wrong, until you forgive them, you cannot get to the next part of somebody apologizing or, I'm doing better. And so I believe that forgiveness is a foundation to justice, especially in the line of work I do.
No, I love it. Listen, you going crazy right now. Yeah, you hear typically these incidents be stumping people. Hey, no, Chief,
I know
right
myself.
On it. Hey, and what you know
thyself. We're gonna get into a movie. When they talk to Neo, and she said, "Look over that doorway there." Know thyself.
Know thyself. That's the key.
Yes, sir.
Final this or that. I might know the answer to this. Fear or regret. I got you.
And so when you say which one would you rather have, it's fear or regret. You know what? I would say fear, because you should fear to have regrets. I do a lot of public speaking, and people are like, "Oh, you make it look easy." There's still a little bit trepidation. There's still some butterflies, but because you have fear, there's almost a part of there is, you have the, what do you want to use, the motivation to do better. To say that I fear regretting not doing this more than the act itself. And so I would say, yeah, fear, man, the basis. If you can get over your fear and work through your fear in a way, because fear can be healthy or it can be very unhealthy. Unhealthy fear is using someone else's story as an officer, and you come upon somebody, and because you got these images from the media and everything else, you do something stupid because you have that fear, which you shouldn't have. Because if that's the type of characteristics you carry around as an officer, you don't belong in the profession. But having a healthy fear of being aware, understanding that anything can be potentially dangerous, knowing that your skills and training helps you stay at your best. Why you work out? Because I want to be at my best. Yes. Why do you sit there and work on your public speaking skills? Because you want to be at your best. Because you don't want to regret that you didn't take on a position because you fear public speaking. You don't want to regret that you didn't talk to the person who could be your future mother of your children because you didn't have the confidence in your own to get over your I don't look the way I should be looking, or I don't have the things I should have.
Your own insecurities, yeah.
Insecurity, so absolutely.
No, I feel it. And when you talk about one of my main dreams is to be a professional inspirational speaker. Like right now, I'm working to get in schools and stuff, because that's what I want to do.
You're on your pathway, brother.
Thank you so much, man.
And
when you talk about,
I might hire you as my hype.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, I'm one call away. I'm one call away.
Before I walk out any press conference, I'm like, all right, Jason, do your thing.
Let's go. I'm right there. Y'all better get ready.
Right.
Y'all better get ready.
Right.
So I want to steer over to the last final segment. It's called Deep Dive, and this is just when I ask like you said, this philosophy. I'm a philosophical person, so I like to ask a philosophical question just to get your perspective on it. Are we born with purpose, or do we create it?
Born with it.
Okay, explain.
I talk about knowing thyself, and when you really start to deep dive and look into your characteristics about what really makes or breaks you, what is the things that, makes you the most happiest. Like, what you're doing right now is natural. Mm-hmm. Now, because you're doing what's naturally, it creates your purpose.
Precisely.
We are born with certain characteristics that we either really hone in on. Like, I was very good at numbers. You should be an accountant, but that's not what I want to do. That's not my purpose.
Man.
I know what I feel happiest about. And that's where we really have to own our truth walk our truth, believe our truth. You start believing someone else's truth, it's called you're somebody else's person or you're doing something else, someone else's life. I'll leave it at this. So when my son was born, and I love both my children, so even though I talk about my son, my daughter is beautiful. She's, a lot of things going for her, but, some of my examples about my son, they actually said, why didn't you name your son after you? Because that was when you're a junior or third. Because I want him to be him. Mm-hmm. I want him to walk his truth. Don't think that you got to be me. I want you to be whoever you feel speaks to who you are. And that's important. Walk your pathway.
That's one thing, because like I said, when I had kids, I grew up always when I was like, no, I'm going to name my kid Junior. Then as I got older, and then especially looking at the LeBron and Bronny situation, how now you can't literally,
in the shadow.
Like he can never escape it now.
Daddy's son.
That's what I'm saying. You can't escape
it's like
it.
Creed, he was always like, I don't want to be known as, I'm Adonis. Like, let him walk or her walk their truth.
Exactly.
Without that pressure of knowing that basically, yes, you are in a blessed family, because we tell our kids all the time, we are required to give you food, and clothing, and shelter.
Everything else, that's extra.
Come on now.
I'm already
and
done.
Also, Mommy and Daddy got this.
It ain't yours.
You don't have nothing.
Yeah.
You got to create your something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, when you are just being that, nurturing and supporting their truth, their personality, who and what speaks to them, then you can be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that basically you are being that type of parent, you're being that type of supporter, because we all have our own truth, which creates our purpose.
Man, hey, come on now. That's right there. That's the final mic drop right there. That's the final mic drop right there. Chief Jeff Norman, listen, I want to thank you so much. I want you to understand how I appreciate it.
Actually. This was very enjoyable, brother.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate this. This is probably one of my more fun, interviews and dialogues and conversations, man. I said this it says a lot about what you are bringing to the public and also what type of pathway you're on. So I just wish you nothing but many blessings, brother, and success in your future self of what you're about to accomplish.
Man, oh God, come on now, don't get me emotional right now, because that means a lot. Like, I wish you understand, like, especially coming from somebody who, because like anybody I bring on this podcast is because I'm personally inspired by them. I don't care about nothing else. If I'm personally inspired by that person, I want that person here because I want to pick their brain so then we can help inspire other people. So to hear that from somebody who does inspire me, it means a lot. So thank you so much.
We need to be seeing what the greatness of our young individuals in our community are, representing. There's a saying to be successful without a successor is a failure.
Yes.
So understand that, we have to pay it forward, but also to be that cheerleader for those who don't get many cheerleading in regards to seeing the type of potential, but capacity, and also accomplishments, because it ain't always about what you can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's also recognizing seeing who you are.
Man. Without question.
I'm going to stop because I have all
I got a whole bunch.
You got to keep on throwing mics down.
I got the sound bites now. Hey, listen, man, I can't wait to start cutting up these reels. I can't wait. And I'm not doing it alone. I got to shout out my brother right here, the future of film, who will be the greatest filmmaker to ever come out of Wisconsin. That's my brother right there, Joe. When I point to you, Chief, all you got to do is say, we catch him. That's it. We catch him. You just got done watching another episode of Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams. Nah.
We catch them.
We catch them.
We catch them.
Technology. You can hold me down, but no, you can't stay. Sooner or later, I'ma get my way. You can try to block this, no, you gon' fall. They say for me to shine, I gotta get my